Okay, it's raining now, but it's actually really light rain and it stops very frequently, so I'm pretty sure I'll be able to fly in a bit. And what did I read today? Talk about things like drones, for example. This is kind of interesting. As you know, there's that new company, Anzu Robotics, where their drones look pretty much exactly like DJI, which makes you wonder, is this a way for the company, DJI, for example, to, I suppose, bypass any type of potential bans in the future when it comes to their products? Well, when reading this, it's kind of interesting with the little details that came out. This one says, are these drones too Chinese to pass US muster in an anti-China moment? A one-man startup believes it has an answer to US government concerns over the Chinese-made drones that dominate commercial sales in the American market. Anzu Robotics' chief executive and founding partners are all American, and the company's headquarters is in Texas. The company's drones, which are expected to be used by law enforcement agencies, utilities, architects, and others, are assembled in Malaysia, and they run on servers sitting in Virginia. And this is actually a very interesting point here. It says roughly half of Anzu's parts come from China. Much of his software originated there. Anzu licensed the design for its drones from DJI, which receives a payment for every drone that Anzu orders from its manufacturer in Malaysia. That crossover is raising questions about whether Anzu is truly independent of DJI, China's leading drone maker, or simply a rebranded version of it. So yeah, it makes you wonder, will that actually work if it's that obvious where it's being used as a way to, again, bypass laws and so forth? It says, if shifting manufacturing out of China and distributing its products through a company with an American zip code can help avoid being blacklisted by federal agencies or effectively outlawed by Congress, the formula Anzu has established could work not just for DJI, but for other Chinese companies whose business in the United States comes under scrutiny. Randall Warnes, Anzu's chief executive and sole employee, said in an interview that in exchange for giving Anzu a commercial license, DJI receives a cut of every dollar Anzu pays to its Malaysian manufacturer for making its drones. Yet he acknowledges that Anzu was essentially DJI's idea. So a little bit of details here, if this is accurate. It says early last year he recalled a DJI representative who said she was speaking for the company's senior leadership approached a group of US drone industry executives with the question, what would be the appetite to try to make it so that we could take our technology, DJI technology, and make it suitable for long-term use in the United States? DJI's concept, which according to Mr. Warnes was also floated by several other DJI employees, was embraced by Anzu's founders, himself, and 3 partners who he said are US citizens. Their goal, he said, was to somehow cleanse the Chineseness from their technology to make it so that there was still an avenue for sales in the United States. Mr. Warnes has been in contact with the Office of Representative Elise Stefanik, the New York Republican who has spearheaded new legislation to effectively ban future operations of DJI drones in America, to discuss Anzu's effort and how to comply with US regulations. But Ms. Stefanik was apparently unmoved by the hour-plus long question and answer session that Mr. Warnes said he held with one of her staff members on Thursday, saying, quote, this desperate attempt to evade tariffs and sanctions is futile. Ms. Stefanik said in a statement on Friday, DJI and all of its shell companies will be held accountable. So I guess in that sense, it's already on their radar, I guess you could say, in terms of ban them too, helps what I would think anyways. But at the same time, just thinking this for anything else, I don't think people would be able to get away with that, correct? I mean, since this is very political, I'm just thinking of it in terms of, let's just say, politicians and so forth. Let's just say they're not supposed to take bribe money or whatever from certain people and all that. I don't think, for example, setting up like a fake company or whatever, or having the donor give the money to someone else that they know, where afterwards that person will give them the money. You can't use a technicality, I would assume, after an investigation, say, well, I didn't get it from the donor technically, I got it from like my friend. I don't think that would hold up, correct? So it'll be interesting to see what happens in this case. And apparently there was some kind of lawsuit recently in the US where Ticketmaster, I guess, is being sued for, I guess, monopoly type practices, and you'd have to wonder what's going to happen here in Canada. And this one says, what Canada's industry minister had to say about the US Ticketmaster lawsuit. after the US Justice Department announced a lawsuit against Ticketmaster. Canada's Minister of Industry says the country will be looking at what has been announced while generally fighting for more competition in every sector of the Canadian economy. The US lawsuit was announced Thursday and accused the event ticketing service of running an illegal monopoly over live events. Speaking to reporters on Parliament Hill after the announcement, Industry Minister François-Philippe Champagne said the federal government will be taking more steps towards fair competition legislation, adding Canada has invested more in terms of enforcement, saying, quote, "We have new tools in the toolbox to have more competition and to be able to also conduct investigation." As reported by the Associated Press, the recent antitrust lawsuit with Ticketmaster, filed in a federal court in Manhattan, involved 30 state and district attorneys and claimed that the event ticketing company is squeezing out smaller promoters, hurting artists, and downing ticket buyers in fees. For sure, anyways, if they get sued in the US and so forth, where they'll eventually have to break up, of course that would affect what would happen here in Canada because the company has to change, correct? Alright, see you guys later.